Not gonna harp on Glimmer just teleporting Bow and Huntara into Bright Moon because it's been well established that Glimmer is essentially able to warp herself to anywhere she knows of, but I will complain about the fact that she's been established to not be able to teleport more than one person without it being a strain, yet she did it 10 times when they were stuck in that hole, and used her magic in a fight immediately afterwards. She should be collapsing on the floor right now.
Catra kidnapped Adora.
The Horde has Adora?
Then she just drops a bombshell on everyone and starts demanding they launch an attack on the Fright Zone, saying Horde can open a portal now he's got the sword. And Angela's reaction here is entirely understandable.
I don't understand. So there's no time to waste. Glimmer, slow down.
Glimmer didn't even tell her she was going to the Crimson Waste. She left them in the middle of a war and is now popping in saying Adora is gone and they have to launch an attack on the Fright Zone because Hordak's portal thing's almost done now.
You are not going anywhere until you explain. Outside, now!
And their conversation is very reminiscent of their relationship back in Season 1.
You need to act. The Horde has Adora and the sword.
And it's not as if neither of them have an argument.
And then what? How are you going to get in? You have no plan.
They had a plan before, and yet it ended with them losing Entrapta and Glimmer having essentially seizures, yet here Glimmer just wants to charge in. And while yes, Glimmer is right, Hordak has the key to open a portal now, there should be some level of haste, but Angela is also right in her insinuation that Glimmer's just not thinking this through.
Before I started rushing in, the rebellion hadn't made a move in years.
That was mostly because of Angela's overcautious behavior. And while yes, Glimmer choosing to leap into the fray has worked out sometimes, the keyword is sometimes, and it ignores the times where their plans have gone to pot and a third party needed to intervene. Actually, remember this attitude for Season 4.
I need you to be a leader, and that means not running off whenever you feel like it.
Such as not running into the Crimson Waste without the most basic necessities or research or telling anyone. And Angela, well, she is a bit fearful for her daughter's safety here. Because yeah, she isn't thinking this through, and this situation popped out of nowhere with no explanation. Their arguments both boil down to something reasonable but slightly flawed due to their own personal biases and feelings toward the situation. But Glimmer's frustration ends up boiling over into, well...
You want to talk about trust? How come you never told me that Shadow Weaver was Dad's old teacher?
Things once more break down into open hostility between these two. And I appreciate how Angela takes a step backwards and says,
It was a long time ago.
And then Glimmer's eyes widen, thinking, okay, maybe that was a bit much, before derailing the conversation to something else. It's all a very realistic interaction between a mother and a daughter who lack horns pretty often.
We should be talking to her. She knows the Horde. She can't be trusted.
She does know the Fright Zone better than anyone else, yet Angela's only argument here is they just can't trust her, which seems to ignore the fact that Shadow Weaver admits that she's been cast out by the Horde and wants to take them down. I mean, at least talk to her.
You would see that if you weren't totally paralyzed by fear.
I feel like the easiest solution for Angela here would be to just say, hey, let's sit down and brainstorm some ideas, but no, the sheer lack of tact from either of them ends up driving a rift.
I am your queen. I say we cannot afford to lose anyone else.
Once again, it's those poor communication skills between these two that causes problems.
Either come up with a reasonable plan, Commander Glimmer, or stay out of the way.
I mean, that didn't just go away in the first season. Which isn't to say Glimmer wasn't being a bit out of line, or that Angela couldn't have afforded to be a bit more tactful in her approach. Very realistic, I enjoyed this whole exchange, but I feel like it kind of ignores a bit of that sit-down they had in Season 1.
No reason to get in a tizzy.
Meanwhile, with Hordak and Entrapta, they continue to get closer as friends.
I have never been in a tizzy.
I mean, there's only so much you can do with someone as energetic as Entrapta and someone as stern and few of words with Hordak, but they make it work.
We still haven't figured out the missing piece. If we try now, the portal might not be stable long enough to get anyone through.
And we get more info about his plan to get the Horde Prime's help.
We only need to open a portal for a short time to send a signal through to Horde Prime.
Well, that just complicates things for our protagonist now, doesn't it?
Should have no trouble opening a portal from his side.
And then you'll have to go with them.
If you look closely, there's the slightest furrowing of Hordak's brow when she says that. Like, this is his first time considering the fact he's gonna have to leave Entrapta behind, the person who accepted who he is and sought to help his condition, to be unconditionally supportive of him.
We'll just keep working on it until it's perfect.
That is how you further encourage all that creepy fan art, people. Also, this episode as well as the remaining 2 of this season are written to really make you hate Catra. She enters the room and ends this friendly moment between these two, and she has this haughty air of superiority as if she's saying, "Praise me, people," as she tosses a door and the sword to the floor.
This sword is the key to the whole planet.
Then acts so bossy to Hordak and Entrapta, who do get to work because, yeah, they know the thing they need.
This was the key that we needed.
And I do appreciate that, after the previous moment, where Entrapta was like, "Oh, you're gonna have to leave when we get this portal working," and it got Hordak thinking, now they have the sword, and they're just like, "Oh, we have the sword. We can get it working now." Okay. Their previous delight on having the chance to work on this machine now evaporates, as they realize, this is it. We've reached the end, I guess. All the while, Adora is panicking on the floor as if she's watching someone about to tour with uranium here. And Entrapta eventually realizes she can use the sword to get through the planetary interference.
I just have no idea how it works. Adora, you wouldn't happen to know, would you?
And even if I did, I wouldn't tell the Horde.
Don't worry, it's Entrapta, she'll figure it out. And all the while, Adora is desperate to try and sway her against this.
Please, Entrapta, you don't want to do this.
Silence!
We also get our first interaction between Hordak and Adora.
You took me away from my family when I was a baby.
Like seriously, this is their first interaction.
You lied to me my whole life about the princesses, about Etheria, about who I am.
He also calls Adora inconsequential, which, okay, yeah, she's done more to oppose Catra and Shadow Weaver, not really Hordak directly, so I can see why he thinks that way. He is an antagonist, he's just one that's had less agency to Adora compared to Shadow Weaver and Catra. So this interaction doesn't really hold much weight, especially after Hordak makes some grand declarations about how he's going to destroy the rebellion and yada yada yada, the usual villain speak.
Once and for
Love these two's interactions. Have I said that yet? Hordak has this moment where he looks surprised anyone is there to support him, but he's in rage mode, so he reacts about as well as you'd expect, and Entrapta just looks sad not being able to help. No other character other than Entrapta could have worked to befriend Hordak. She has that just right personality, attitudes, and beliefs that's just able to resonate well enough with Hordak. And then for some reason the sword just starts doing its thing without Entrapta's assistance. Switching back to Bright Moon.
This is a bad idea.
It's a great idea. Okay, it's terrible.
There will be no guards inside this room, as if Angela never considered Glimmer would just teleport inside the place.
Princess, it's about time.
I just noticed this about Weaver. Her tone of voice is a bit more expressive than the other characters, which I suppose is a necessity when it comes to her as a character, because you never see her face and you need some emoting.
You knew we were coming?
I had no idea, but you're smart.
Like here, she is clearly being manipulative, conveyed through her words and tone, because it's the same one she'd use on Adora and Catra when manipulating them.
You want to stop the Horde, and you know I am the only one who can help you do that.
They explain that the Horde has Adora, the sword, and can open a portal now, so Weaver expresses they have no time to lose, as if Hordak has the opportunity to open a portal, he absolutely would, and suggests she can help Glimmer teleport them to the Fright Zone.
I couldn't even get to the edge of the Fright Zone without running out of power.
I don't know, you seem to be able to make it back from here from the Crimson Waste alright, and you haven't even recharged yet. Although Weaver explains she was able to make use of the Black Garnet and might be able to do something similar with the Moonstone.
You can really make me that powerful?
You think of yourself only as a princess, but you're the child of a great sorcerer.
She is on their side as an ally of convenience, but I do think she's trying to butter Glimmer up here.
You have a more powerful connection to magic than you've ever realized. Let me show you.
In an attempt to make her see her as more than just an object to get intel out of. And Glimmer just becomes laser focused on Weaver, and completely agrees without a thought about how teleporting into the Fright Zone by themselves could go. Catra is... well, what do you think she's feeling?
Hordak's going to open a portal. I'll be the reason the Horde defeats the princesses.
She's back, and soon she's gonna have all the authority and power she could ever want, and crushes everything Adora cares for, like she promised.
But hey, I couldn't have done any of it without you, thanks.
I do think Catra is genuinely grateful, But Scorpia does seem to know better, as this isn't the level of happiness she had at the Crimson Waste. This place isn't good for her and she knows it.
You're right. Just look away. I can't. Oh, what's taking Hordak so long?
Entrapta, we never meant to leave you behind. We thought you were dead.
Oh yeah, this is kind of too late, Adora. There is guilt about leaving Entrapta behind, and it's a valiant as attempt as any, but unfortunately it is too little too late to apologize at this point.
Catra is my friend, I think. Yes, the data says she is.
I think it's because Facebook has friends as being the thing you can join that my mind instantly jumped to thinking about that social media app upon seeing that image and hearing Entrapta say that, because Catra is definitely not Entrapta's friend, and it's a shame how she realizes it.
The Horde's armies will come through and then it's all over. You can't open a portal.
I think this next moment perfectly portrays how autistic Entrapta is. Like, at first they frame it as if she's gonna say something real serious about her feelings of abandonment and inability to connect with people outside this place, but
Oh, but I can. Did you miss the whole sword makes the portal machine work thing?
nope, it's as if she didn't even hear that first part, and derails to talking about techno babble. Entrapta does not fully grasp the Galactic Horde, nor what they're liable to do on Etheria. She's just too excited about what she could find in an infinite galaxy, which isn't to say she's an idiot. When Adora brings up the whole destroy the planet thing, she admits there's something off with the data and leaves to check it out.
You won't try to escape if I just pop out for a quick sec, will you?
No?
Okay, great. Really appreciate it.
Then we have Glimmer, Bow, and Shadow Weaver, who apparently want to just teleport themselves, and Hordax intersect them with none of the other princesses to help.
What do you think you're doing?
Thankfully they show up to add some sense to this plan. Also, for some reason, Angela is surprised to not find Glimmer in her room. Like, woman, have you learned nothing about who your daughter is? Like, she goes to check on Shadow Weaver, clearly sees she's missing, and then walks into the room, looks at the circle, and then realizes what happened, and is just too slow to stop the princesses and Bow into teleporting to the Fright Zone.
We aimed for Hordak's sanctum, but obviously we missed. Try to be quiet.
So they're instantly spotted, and Perfuma, Frostem, or Misty need to split off to buy everyone else time, and it's a good thing they decided to bring them, am I right? Oh, and Catra bumps into Shadow Weaver, and I think we all knew this is going to be a particularly sucky reunion.
I heard you were with the enemy, but are you actually holding hands with a princess?
And it's always nice to see Catra fight, because it just shows how, while she is reckless and impulsive, that doesn't mean she's incompetent. Like, as soon as the fight begins, one of Bow's arrows gets stuck in her whip, and she sees one go off revealing against that sticky goop. So she keeps it attached and closes the distance to take out Bow with his own arrow. Then while Glimmer is teleporting around to avoid her whip, Catra flares around uselessly for a moment before realizing there's a sparkle before she appears and almost catches Glimmer, had Weaver not had a faster reaction time to zap her, and even disintegrates that whip. Like, damn, Catra would be dead if Weaver not cared to talk.
I can help you. There's no need for us to be enemies.
There's her manipulative voice again. Shadow Weaver does not suddenly care about Catra, obviously. She just wants to make her revenge hurt as much as possible, and getting Adora back all the more expedient, and Catra is having none of it.
So what? You're on the side of good now?
Remember, Catra always knew what the Horde was, she just didn't care in the slightest.
You made me this way, and you get to be the good guy?
Yeah, that is bull for Shadow Weaver, but Catra had her chances to leave the Horde and be better, but was either too stubborn or prioritized revenge over her own well-being.
Do you know what happened to me after you escaped? Do you even care? You couldn't wait to get away from here. From me.
Catra just wants to be loved. She's a child abused and denied of one of the crucial things a growing kid is supposed to have, and it messed her up big time.
But you came back for Adora.
Not the full story, but it's not hard to see why Catra makes that connection. It seems like it's always about Adora when it comes to her life getting more miserable, and Catra is nearly denied revenge by death when Shadow Weaver starts crushing the life out of her, only stopped because Bow's concerned about Glimmer losing too much power, and Catra has to run away, tail tucked between her legs. Unable to get her revenge through direct combat, that has been proven on multiple occasions, she has but one option: that portal opening. Yet,
You were right. That is not good.
yeah, if Entrapta says the world's gonna blow, it probably is. But Catra does not want to hear that.
Opening a portal right now will be disastrous. Adora was right.
And that Adora is right part did not help her mental state at this point.
Dora is right.
You will notice this more, but Catra is steadily becoming unhinged. It started last episode and progressed more here.
Adora gets everything she wants, but not this time. This time, I am going to win.
And I don't even think Catra disagrees with Entrapta here.
I won't! I need to tell Hordak. He'll understand.
Catra knows how smart she is, hence why she zaps her here, an impulsive action if that face is any indication. And remember when I said this episode is written to get you to hate her?
Put her on the transport to Beast Island.
But Beast Island? You can't.
Yeah.
You want to be next?
Oh, yeah. And then there's this. Catra rushes to Hordak, where...
The princesses are here. We need to open the portal.
Where's Entrapta? I need her.
the one person who's understood and helped Hordak with his disability is going off to a horrible place, and Catra
Who do you think let the princesses in?
now has the man believing Entrapta so casually betrayed him.
But she wouldn't.
Bitch.
Oh, you can't trust anyone, especially a princess.
And then the gang shows up and knocks Hordak away from the switch, so it falls to Catra to make the decision now.
Catra, please don't!
That smile. She knows this will do one of two things. Get the Galactic Horde here and crush the rebellion before Adora's eyes, or just blow up the world and end everyone. And either option is enough for Catra, because one is revenge in some form or another. That was episode 4 for season 3 of Overanalyzing She-ra. If you like this video and want to see more, then hit that thumbs up and the subscribe button and bell to get notifications about the next episode. I'll try to update this series every Thursday, so please share with other fans and also check out my channel for my video essays, music analysis, and complex character series. You might find them enjoyable as well.